Now I'd like to introduce to you first Adjunct Associate Professor Anne-Marie Keenan, who is the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Safer Care Victoria and our Chief Nursing and Midwifery Officer, to make the welcome address. Thank you very much, Anne-Marie.
Well, welcome everybody to this really significant event. I think it's a great opportunity for people to get together and talk about antimicrobial stewardship. And certainly there's been lots of social media this week, certainly that I've been following. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today and acknowledge elders past and present. A special welcome to our guests and presenters, our Commonwealth Chief Veterinary Officer, Dr. Mark Shipp, the Chief Veterinary Officer for Victoria, Professor Charles Mill, and our State Deputy Chief Health Officer, Dr. Brett Sutton. Safer Care Victoria is really pleased to be hosting this forum this year, and certainly, supporting the action around antimicrobial resistance. It's absolutely consistent with our mission of eliminating avoidable patient harm and strengthening quality of care. We acknowledge the seriousness of antimicrobial resistance as one of our most pressing global health, public health and patient safety issues. Globally, it's estimated that there's around about 700,000 deaths each year related to this issue. There's lots of significant challenges that remain to be addressed, and we're certainly we're making progress. And the number of attendances today, both here and online, are a reflection of people's interests and the importance of this issue. And I think it's incumbent on every one of us to be spreading, out there in the public, in our day-to-day lives, around the importance of correct use of antimicrobials. I don't know about you, but I often have people asking me, I've got these antibiotics in my drawer, and we're going overseas, should I just take them just in case? Or, I've kept these, should I have them? Well, I'm sure everybody in the room has a response, no. What would you do? Throw them out, and when you need antibiotics, you need antibiotics. Or somebody's had a cold for a couple of weeks and they ring you up and say, do you think I need to take antibiotics? No, you've still got a virus. So I think it's important for us to continue with that work out in the public, as well as the other, important stewardship work here. Australia has got a significant national strategy with an implementation plan that's been in place now for a few years. And the National Quality and Safety Health Service Standards require hospitals to have an antimicrobial stewardship in place. And they're going to be releasing updated version of those standards and strengthening those requirements shortly. And that accumulates in a very interesting information about antimicrobial use and data collection tools that's been developed through the National Antimicrobial Prescribing Survey. And there's also the initiative around the National Antimicrobial Utilisation Survey Program. The acronyms associated with this, I think, are remarkable. So the NAPS, looking at quality, volume and antimicrobial use. So it's also great to see the work that's happening in the community, which is, partly, our responsibility that I've spoken about, around the MPS Medicine WISE program that's included in your program today, raising awareness of antimicrobial resistance in primary care and with consumers. I'd love to be able to stay today, but I can't. But I think, you know, the presentations that you're going to hear today are from the animal health sector, and thanks to our veterinary colleagues who have helped put together the sections today around the animal sessions today. And while we're endeavouring to reduce our antimicrobial use, and we need to ensure that use is appropriate, we're looking forward to hearing what else is on the horizon, researching into new therapies, and that Dr. Tony Smitherman will tell you about today some of the exciting progress in that area. And it's great to see that that World Antimicrobial Awareness Week is growing, and with the World Health Organization releasing some fabulous promotional materials and resources for the campaign this year. And I encourage everybody to have a look at these, and of course not just look at them, to use them. And also note that part of this, the focus of the World Health Organization is the campaign of infection prevention and control. And having been an infection control nurse in a past life, that's certainly dear to my heart. And yesterday the WHO released new guidelines on CRE. Of course, in Australia, the Commission and MPS Medicine Wise continue to lead the national campaigns about antimicrobial awareness. And we wish you a happy Antimicrobial Awareness Week. Best of luck to your local health services or practice campaigns and the activity that we have this week. And I just want to finish with a bit of a short story. Now, when I was a teenager, I loved Jane Austen novels. I'm the eldest of 7 children, and I'm, you know, a bit older than probably, you know, maybe I look. But the way that I got away from them was, back in those days, was actually to read. So I was an avid reader of Jane Austen novels. And when Jane Austen published her novel Emma in 1815, that was in the pre-antibiotic times. In 2015, there was a modern retelling of the Jane Austen novel, and in that novel we find the quote that's written up there, that Mr. Woodhouse had shaken his head over his letter. When would people learn that antibiotics were useless against viruses? Now, the person that wrote that novel is a Scottish novelist, and his name is Alexander McCall Smith, AMS. And he is also a physician by background, and has turned his hand to writing. So I think, you know, we can draw on, you know, I think he needs to write more novels that perhaps appeal to a broader population, other than, you know, old crusty middle-aged women like me, around spreading the word that's embedded into literature around antimicrobial stewardship. So I wish you all the best for the forum today, and certainly look forward to catching up with Kylie and the team about the outcomes and the conversations that happened today. And I also want to acknowledge the great work that Kylie and her team and the team at Safer Care Victoria have put into putting this forum together. So thank you and best wishes.